Alrighty guys, it is Quabman here today, and today we're going to talk about the weekly Dragon Ball news episode where Toyotaro said a lot of things that are going to make Dragon Ball fans raise their eyebrows and debate for an eternity. And if you guys want to check out this interview, just look at the description and you can watch it there directly, and don't worry about it being in Japanese because there's closed captions for you to watch it in whatever language you prefer. And just to save time, we're going to talk about the main points and start off with the reason you clicked on this video, which is the power scaling of Granolah and Gas. Toyotaro basically says that they were still stronger than someone like Nappa, right? Quote for quote. Then he says they were stronger than him and probably stronger than the Ginyu Force too. Then the interviewer asks, well, compared to Frieza on Namek? But the heaters didn't seem like they were stronger than him. They gained a lot of power with the Dragon Balls. Toyotaro then comes back in and says, quite a lot. Maybe around Abo and Cado's level. Obviously, based off of that, Goten and Trunks' base form would be around that of Frieza Elites, which is kind of insane because when you start thinking about it, you would think that a base Goten and Trunks, based off of how impressed their dads were of them, and the Buu arc would be way higher than Frieza level characters. And then that really goes to show you how much fusion really multiplies your power, because fusion can make two kids that are that weak, obviously including Super Saiyan boosting as well, fight against a character like Buu. That's pretty ridiculous, and that even goes to show you how even more ridiculous it is, because if Granolah and Gas were around the power of characters that are Frieza Force Elites, and they can cheat to use the Dragon Balls to become as strong as what Goku and Vegeta were after fighting against Moro, after fighting in the Tournament of Power, after learning Ultra Ego and Ultra Instinct. That is insane. But if I'm trying to be consistent though, I actually think it kind of makes sense, because when you go back to the chapter that featured Bardock fought against Gas many years ago, and when you consider that if we think that Granolah and Gas were around the strength of Frieza Force Elites, and Bardock clearly wasn't as strong as a Frieza Force Elite, but he would have fought against a weaker Gas, and he defeated him, Gas didn't really get that much stronger from when he fought against Bardock to when he fought against Goku and Vegeta before having to make that wish. The only thing that doesn't make sense is that Goten and Trunks were that weak. They shouldn't have been that weak in their base forms, but that's another conversation for another day. Now, next up, we're going to talk about Granolah's potential father, which is the character known as Flakes. And yes, that comes from the word cornflakes. It's a bit cringy, but, you know, that's what his name is. And for those of you who don't remember, he was basically the random Cerulean that destroyed the moon so that the Saiyans wouldn't continue terrorizing his people. And fans obviously speculated that that might be Granolah's dad. And this is what Toyotaro had to say about this after the interviewer asked him. He said, since I didn't think he would be a plot point, I designed him so that he would work without being his father. But I always pictured him as being Granolah's father when I drew him. However, I didn't have that confirmation from Toriyama. It's just something that I did on my own. So it might not turn out to be the case. Since he fought to help everyone else, I had a feeling that Flakes was Granolah's father. Now, to be honest with you guys, this just seems like one of those classic situations where the door is left open to have a character that you can explain in the future in case Flakes is ever confirmed as Granolah's dad. But to be completely honest with you, it seems extremely unlikely that you'll learn more about him, because the truth is that both of Granolah's parents are dead. And we already learned a little bit about his mother, and she was the most important person in his life that we saw. And if she's gone, there really doesn't seem to be much more story to talk about, unless you want to talk about what his life was like before the Saiyans and the Frieza Force invaded. But if we were ever going to do like a backstory on Granolah's past, it's probably going to be more so about how he interacted with the heaters than learning more about his parents that eventually died anyways. Now, Toyotaro also made some interesting comparisons between Saiyans and Ceruleans. He said that Granolah is about 50 years old and that Ceruleans live up to about 150 years of age. Now, when you do the math, the average person lives to about 75 to 80 years of age, so Ceruleans live almost twice as long exactly as what humans and Saiyans live to. And when you do the math, that would basically mean that Granolah is in his mid to late 20s if you were to do like a direct comparison between a Cerulean living his lifespan as compared to a Saiyan or a human. And he also said that Ceruleans have very long fighting primes similar to that of the Saiyans. And in reality, guys, I think this makes Goku and Vegeta look really good, because when you do the math, it shows that Granolah is lucky to have been born a race that has that much life force that he could even use the Dragon Balls to make such a wish in the first place. And when you factor in that when he fought Goku and Vegeta, granted he got the best of them, but it wasn't like they weren't able to inflict damage on them. They were clearly able to fight against Granolah, which really shows that in terms of mortals, they're so close to the top that even cheating didn't put you that much ahead of them. And when you consider how much less time Saiyans have to live compared to Ceruleans, and the fact that Goku and Vegeta were able to get that much stronger in their shorter lifespans versus Granolah, who was still a Frieza Force level character, being that old, is pretty insane when you break everything down. So looking at the bigger picture of all of this, even though a lot of us had a problem with the writing saying that it's cheap to make Gas and Granolah so strong, the plot device itself actually makes Goku and Vegeta look good. Because it's basically saying that these two powerful random mortals can spend the rest of their life training and only be slightly better than Goku and Vegeta were, or near where Goku and Vegeta are, which really goes to show you how awesome Goku and Vegeta actually are. And I think the best thing about all of this is that it goes to show, through what Toyotaro said, how difficult it is to get stronger in the Dragon Ball universe. Granted, our characters benefit from the plot being on their side, for Toriyama or whoever to always find a way to create our characters and put them in a position to get stronger because the plot just requires it. But it really highlights that for the rest of other powerful mortals in the universe, it's really hard for them to get stronger if they're living lives where they're not constantly fighting against super strong characters over and over and over and over and over again. Because the truth is that if Granolah and Gas went through what Goku and Vegeta had gone through, they would have been way stronger than what Goku and Vegeta would have been without having to use the Dragon Balls. But because they have more dormant lifestyles in comparison to what Goku and Vegeta have, and also dying and training in the afterlife, they will never be able to fully reach their potential, even by using a wish with the Dragon Balls. And I also think it also shows a little bit of a superiority complex on the exponential rate that Saiyans can grow in terms of power versus other races. So ultimately, guys, I take everything from this interview as a positive, and I'm curious what you think in the comment section below. But until now, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys, and stay cool and stay safe, my friends.